welcome to HITC Sport, and yes, I am back, lads. The last time you all saw me, unless you were that fat bloke at the airport who mistook me for HITC 7s, I hope you end up with tonsillitis. The last time you all saw me, I was stuck in a bathtub of milk. Like I said, lads, I'm used to inflatable objects. For Christ's sake, what do you think I lost my goddamn virginity to? But spending my Christmas holidays stuffed in an ill-fitted blow-up bath, showered with something that clearly belongs in a cow's left tit, not exactly how I would have envisioned it. But yeah, lads, I am back, alright? And I hope you all had a great and wonderful Christmas holiday. Actually, I don't really care. You could have spent the day choking on a bowl of dog fur for all I care. But don't take the moral high ground, lads. For some of you, you didn't even want me to have a Christmas holiday at all. Lads, you sound like Ryan Giggs' wife. You don't have to constantly check in on me, lads, alright? I'm still alive and well. Well-ish. A few of you that did actually spot me out and about over Christmas were all wondering why the f*** I wasn't chained to a laptop screaming about Paul McShane. Lads, I have a life outside YouTube too, you know? Granted, that life consists of begging people in the street to hug me and crying into a sock on a daily basis, but still.
You f***ing shit!
And the guy who replaced me at Christmas, yeah, so normally, alright, I do 5 videos a week, and the lovely James does 2.
You might say we threw a game against Blackburn today. I don't think
you would say that.
I don't think. Well, let me finish.
I just don't need to listen.
Let me finish.
But for things like Christmas, when I spend a week pretending to have a family, I need to bring in a substitute. That's all he was, alright? He was just covering me for Christmas, so go easy, lads. I don't get it, was free content. I mean, by the sounds of it, you'd swear you were being forced to swallow the gunk swabbed out of Rebel Wilson's belly button. When in reality, he's just a nice man filling in to cover me over Christmas, and who has a weekly slot on a show I've never been invited on. Also, lads, just before Christmas, I did something bad. I've needed to get this off my chest for a while. With some YouTube scandals, some of them have been forced to admit that they've conned their mates, begged for a sticky chest, or licked a badger's private parts. But I did something much worse. I willingly and voluntarily walked onto the set of Football Daily. Don't worry, lads, alright? Of course, I took 3 showers immediately afterwards. Scrubbed my skin until it bled and drowned myself in liters of f***ing detergent. But still, alright, I did. I voluntarily walked onto the set of Stat Wars and lost. I'm still not sure how. I can only assume they drugged me in a pre-match meal. I mean, knowing Chris Hamill, I wouldn't doubt him lacing my bottle of water with the bathwater of Patrick Van Straten, which of course is enough to scramble the circuits. At least I didn't lose to the ginger one. I think I would rather rip off my own freckles. But yeah, return leg coming soon. Please don't touch me again. Anyway, lads, alright, less about my depressing life. Let's just get back into the football. For this one, right, I'm just gonna do a quick roundup of every Premier League club's Christmas schedule. How they got on over the past few days. It's probably a helpful summation for those of you who've probably been blacked out since December 24th. But lads, before I get into it, the Christmas schedule is an absolute joke. Yay, it's great for us because we get football drip fed into our veins every day across the holidays. A perfect tonic for a head-splitting hangover. And just chuck on the telly and laugh at Norwich defenders making like my incontinent brother and failing to keep a clean sheet. And if you think that joke's in poor taste, well then you're wrong because my brother's dead. Okay, Arsenal, right, the Christmas period brought about Mikel Arteta's first 3 games in charge, and it's sort of been like watching a recovering smackhead taking the first few steps out of rehab. First there was a 1-1 draw at Bournemouth, an encouraging 2-1 loss at home to Chelsea, before smashing Manchester United at home. These are Arsenal's first few steps on the road to recovery. And if we're using that smackhead analogy, then yeah, it's going to be a bumpy ride, you're going to lose a few games, misplace passes, and spend your birthday cracking onto your cousin. But still, alright, Arteta has you on the right path. Moving on to Aston Villa, 2 wins and a damaging 3-0 loss to Watford. Yes, beating Norwich at home, it was very important. Getting ripped apart by Troy Deeney's pot belly was embarrassing, but picking up all 3 points at Burnley, lads, you know what, I actually feel sorry for Villa this season. Let's be honest, most set of football fans seem to have this paranoid view that refereeing decisions and game line technology are out to get them personally. But lads, Villa have suffered more than most this season. Remember earlier on in the campaign when Henry Lansbury inexplicably had an injury time leveller ruled out of Sellers Park? It's nearly 6 months later and they're still having goals chalked off because somebody's toenail was offside by a margin less than that of a bumblebee's ball sack. But fair play, you got the win. Moving on. The only way Christmas could be worse for Bournemouth fans is if Santa Claus took a dump in their stocking. And considering the state of that man's diet, can you imagine the smell? You'd have to fumigate the house for at least 6 weeks. A 1-1 draw at home to Arsenal, who's bang average. Conceding 6 without reply in relegation rivals Brighton and West Ham. Lads, I know it's almost sacrilege to criticise Eddie Howe, but this man has shown about as much respect for legal tender as a cheerleader who's stolen her daddy's credit card 20 million quid on Dominic Solanke. Does he want to explain the existence of Jordan Ibe? It's like paying 40 grand a week to have a wet cow patch stuck on the bench. And after all that frivolous spending, they're spending the new year stuck in the relegation zone. I don't want to say Eddie Howe out, but does anyone have Tony Pulis' number just in case? Moving on to Brighton, let's rewind 3 weeks. Brighton, Alireza Jahanbakhsh. Simply put, Alireza Jahanbakhsh, yes, Jahanbakhsh, has been an absolute flop. Let's not forget this winger cost £17 million back in July 2018. He failed to score a single goal in 24 games last term. An unmitigated disaster. Of course he's going to get spat out in January. He has to. He's been absolutely hopeless. Okay, just ignore the fact that I sound like Sean Dyche after half a box of fags, but this should be saying that Alireza Jahanbakhsh has been god-awful and will be sold in January for definite. Now clearly this man has woken up and realised that proving my predictions wrong is just common practice now. He's been incredible. Yeah, there was a 2-1 loss of Spurs, sure, but then Alireza, a £10 million flop, smacks home a screamer in a 2-0 home win over Bournemouth before slicing in an acrobatic bicycle kick to preserve a point at home to Chelsea. Oh, good God, no. Similarly, Sean Dyche will probably feel like he's had a Christmas around the backsticks of hell. 3 defeats in a row to Everton, Man United, and most worryingly of all, Aston Villa at home. I don't think they're going down, lads, but this is not great form, and they've looked pretty ropey all season long. I don't know what to make of Chelsea's form. They are about as inconsistent as Caitlyn Jenner's choice of restroom. On Boxing Day, there was a 2-0 defeat at home to Southampton, just days after a win at Spurs, then another win in North London, before leaving Brighton with just a point in a game which probably causes Joe Weller about as much confusion as a porno starring your aunt. For Crystal Palace, a fairly non-eventful Christmas. A 2-1 home win over West Ham with Jordan Ayew doing his usual thing, waking up every 3 months to score a screamer before going back to shredding newspaper or whatever he gets paid to do there. Then there were back-to-back 1-1 draws at Southampton and Norwich, 2 clubs who were actually relegated alongside Palace all the way back in 2005. But of course, most of you probably don't remember that relegation battle because you were nestled safely in your dad's ballsack, desperately praying for the condom to break. This was the Carlo Ancelotti Christmas for Everton. I still can't believe a 3-time Champions League winner is spending his twilight years coaching Theo Walcott. It's been a steady renaissance for the Toffees. Marginal wins over Burnley and Newcastle, where Dominic Calvert-Lewin finally woke up to show some form, before a narrow defeat at the Etihad. Relax, Everton fans, you are finally in safe hands. This was a damaging Christmas for Leicester. A bit like when I was forced to spend Christmas Eve sharing a bed with my uncle recently released from prison, this was a traumatic Christmas period for Leicester City. Yes, there were impressive wins at Newcastle and West Ham, but conceding 7 goals across 2 games to both Man City and Liverpool, it sort of made a mockery of any semblance of a title bid. This was their chance and they blew it. It's sort of like me going on a date with Jessica Alba and then choosing to get sick on her shoes. Then again, if she saw the state of my bank account, she'd probably get sick on her purse. For Man City, yeah, narrow home wins over Sheffield United and Everton, but who really cares? The title race is as dead as Jimmy Hoffa. If it wasn't before, Benjamin Mendy certainly made sure of that last week. Can I say, this has been an absolutely pathetic title defence by City. 5 league defeats before the new year. Put this in context, Manchester United's last title defence under David Moyes, they also lost 5 league games before the new year. It's bleak form, lads, it really is. Manchester United are maddeningly inconsistent. Yeah, there were wins over Newcastle and Burnley. There was also a 2-0 defeat to the league's bottom club, with David De Gea displaying all the reflexes of a broken sponge, before losing 2-0 at Arsenal in a game they could have lost by 4 or 5. Yes, they're 5th in the league, but how? Honestly, how? They're 2 points above David McGoldrick. How is Ollie still in it? Actually, you know what? I don't know. I'm not even gonna bother anymore. I've already taken the bath. I spent 6 days smelling like a pregnant cow. I'm dropping the agenda. Newcastle, terrible. Absolutely terrible. Remember all the praise Steve Bruce was getting a few weeks ago? Yeah, not anymore. Take Alan St-Maximin out of this team, and Newcastle are absolute relegation fodder. I'm sorry, but they are. What are they teaching this team in training? Yes, the Christmas period began brightly. Miguel Almiron scored his first goal in about 7 years with the winner against Crystal Palace in a game that was about as appetizing on the eyes as a pint of bleach. Then a 4-1 defeat at Manchester United in a game where Newcastle defenders chucked the ball away at every given opportunity. Then there was a depressing home defeat to Everton, and then a 3-0 home defeat to Leicester, where the Magpies had 23% possession. Yeah, I know they were down to 10 men for most of the second half, but still, that is an absolutely pathetic stat. Yes, Newcastle are 13th, but they're just 5 points above the drop zone and are currently persisting with a £40 million sack of cement up front, who has a worse goal scoring record than Hozzaloo. I wouldn't be surprised if Newcastle end up losing to Rochdale this weekend. And they have Paul McShane at the back. No, let's be serious. I mean, Rochdale are obviously not going to win that game. I mean, if they do, I will personally drive to Paul McShane's house and beg for forgiveness. And I don't even have a car. Right, is everyone still here? Great. Have you all switched off and chucked on Football Daily instead? Of course not, because your brains aren't made of cheese. Right, Norwich, frustrating Christmas. That club searching for Premier League win is a bit like me waiting for my dad to return home with the milk. You know, deep down, it's not gonna happen. Norwich spent the holidays flirting with the prospect of a win, chucking away Todd Cantwell-inspired leads against Wolves, Spurs and Palace, when Connor Wickham scoring his first goal in over 3 years against your defence. That's how you know you're probably not Premier League quality. But Norwich are about as capable of holding on to a lead as a toddler walking his pet greyhound. A solid Christmas for Sheffield United, all 3 points against Brighton, a 1-1 home draw with Watford, a respectable 2-0 defeat at the Etihad. Decent enough, Chris Wilder should be very happy. I don't understand Southampton, I just don't get it. When they lost 9-0 at home in September, I called them a joke and wrote them and Ralph Hasenhüttl off. Christ above, I almost thought the club should be shut down and stripped for parts. But how they bounced back, how Ralph Hasenhüttl has re-energised a side who shipped 9 goals in one bastard match. It's amazing. A 3-1 win at Villa, a 2-0 win at Stamford Bridge, a respectable point at home to Crystal Palace, and all 3 points against Spurs. Incredible work, Ralph. Well done. And Danny Ings, he's the most informed striker in the country right now. Pretty bad Christmas for Jose Mourinho at Spurs. Then there was a stuttering win at home to Brighton, just the 1 point in Norwich before getting nothing to Southampton. Honeymoon period is over, lads. Incredible Christmas for Watford. Nigel Pearson still has it, lads. 3-0 wins over Man United, Aston Villa and Wolves. An impressive point at Bramall Lane. I'm not sure what Pearson's secret is. Does he just threaten the players? Does he just kidnap their wives and hold them for ransom? Unless the players actually start scoring a few goals. How has he done it? He's only been there 3 weeks and already has 3 wins. Even Troy Deeney scoring goals. On the face of it, this was the Christmas from hell for West Ham fans. The feast to Crystal Palace and Leicester were bad, but replacing a former Premier League champion with David Moyes, it didn't go down well. And to prove it, let's hear from Mr. West Ham himself, Jack May, who lives in Norwich.
Hi LCFC, just wondering how I apply to become a full-time fan. My previous club, West Ham, have just re-signed David Moyes, a bloke that turned down James Maddison for Jordan Hugill. I'm done with them until the owners sell.
Am I hearing you're done with your club because of a David Moyes return? Bit harsh. I mean, calm down, lad. It's not as if they've given the job to a f***ing Zoella Calendar. Moyes is a decent manager. He just masterminded a 4-0 win at home to Bournemouth, so please, show Moyes a bit more respect than that which you showed your f***ing chest. And finally, Wolves, 2 defeats and a win. Anyway, that's the end of the video, guys. Have I summed it up? What do you think? Have I called it right about your team? Was it a good Christmas? Do I care? Not really. Alright. Anyway, let me know in the comment section below if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while. Oh, it feels good to be back.